The influence of World War I. The death of one man caused the death of over 32 million more. This describes World War I, one of the deadliest wars in history. In 1914, Serbian forces assassinated Archduke Francis Ferdinand of Austria, causing Austria-Hungary to be angry about the rebellion and to later declare war on Serbia. Soon after, Austria-Hungary was allied with Germany, the Ottoman Empire, and Bulgaria, forming the Central Powers, and France, Britain, Russia, and the US allied, creating the Allies. In 1918, the war ended by blaming Germany and making them pay reparations. Little did the Allies know this would be one reason for another war. World War I was the most influential event on the 20th century because it included new inventions and led up to another world war. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Francis Ferdinand of Austria and his wife were traveling through Serbia. Later in the day, a conspirator shot Archduke Ferdinand as well as his wife. Serbia had been under the rule of Austria-Hungary, and its citizens were unhappy with how they were being treated. Soon after the assassination, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. Then, Germany declared war on Russia to protect Austria-Hungary, and France declared war on Germany to protect Russia. The war had begun. Aggressive actions took other countries into the war. There were many violent and bloody battles, but some of the most important ones were the Battle of Verdun, the Battle of the Somme, and the Battle of Tannenberg. Finally, in November of 1918, an armistice was signed called the Treaty of Versailles. It stated that Germany was at fault for the war and that they were paying reparations. The Allies were victorious. World War I was caused by imperialism, nationalism, and industrialization. All of these were important factors in the war. Before the time of the war, powerful countries, especially European countries, were in a sort of race to annex the most colonies. This is how Serbia became under Austro-Hungarian rule. Several nations were irritated with each other because some had collected more colonies than others. This caused tension that was problematic throughout the world. The Triple Entente, which were France, Great Britain, and Russia, and the Triple Alliance, which were Austria-Hungary, Germany, and Italy, were the main powers fighting for colonies. Through a series of catastrophes between 1908 and 1913, Russia and Austria-Hungary fought for the Balkans. With nationalism, small countries were looking for independence and were very proud. Ethnic groups who did not have their own nations, such as Slavic people in the Balkans, Poles under the command of Russia, and Irish under the command of England, were not happy because they wanted to be independent. Groups of people wanted to stay together and be left alone, which caused other nations to be in peril for different reasons. For example, the event that set off the war was the assassination of Archduke Francis Ferdinand. This happened because Serbians did not want to be ruled by Austria-Hungary. They wanted to have their own content country. So the action that they took was violence. As well as being caused by nationalism, the war increased it. As the authentic history center states, nationalism was the movement that made the most impact on Europe in 1914. Pride in one's country can lead to many things, good and bad. Along with nationalism and imperialism, industrialization played a huge role in the First World War. During the time of World War I, very many new inventions were created. Some of it was before the war, and some of it was because of the war. New guns were being made, and new technology overall was huge. However, that did not mean that soldiers knew how to use this equipment. During the war, the poorly trained soldiers caused many problems because they did not know how to use new equipment. Before the war, armies had been preparing and were in a way eager to use new equipment, despite their lack of knowledge. Another new invention during this period of time was trench warfare, the fighting of war from trenches dug into the ground. This important method led to a stalemate at times because, with the trenches facing and shooting at each other, the armies would simply attack from a distance and not much would happen. World War I ended when the fighting nations signed an armistice. The Treaty of Versailles was the signed document that ended the war. It stated that Germany was the cause of the war and that Germany was completely responsible. It was therefore responsible to pay back all of the money that was spent by all of the countries involved, stated the treaty. As Encyclopedia Britannica declares, the treaty deemed Germany the aggressor in the war and consequently made Germany responsible for making reparations. As Encyclopedia Britannica says, all blame was on Germany. In total, the reparations cost about $33 billion. This debt would set a grudge for years to come, eventually provoking the Second World War. World War I brought the entire world into the modern era. The amount of advances in technology was immense. The industrialization of the entire world was boosted during this war. This war was also the first to use airplanes in war, starting a whole new world of harsher warfare. People then had new technology to aid them with communication, transportation, and even more. All of this modernized the entire world as it was the first to use some of this new technology. Although it was thought to be the last war, tensions from World War I played a part in World War II. One cause of World War II was Germany being humiliated and guilty about their loss of the First War. According to History.com, the Treaty of Versailles, made in 1919, imposed terms onto Germany that developed factors leading to World War II. This proves that not only was it a horrible war, but it also caused another horrible war. These wars both caused massive destruction and a huge effect on their century. World War I was the most important war of the 20th century. The new industrialization that started the century and the rollover of tensions to cause World War II were important elements that stemmed from this war. After the assassination of Archduke Francis Ferdinand, the world was agitated for another 40 years. Nationalism, industrialization, and imperialism led to this bloody event. The lives that were lost were too numerous.